Hi there, I'm John Underhill, and this is the Red Special Guitar Podcast. Today we're taking a look at the brand new intro music and intro video that's been made for me and the podcast by Martin Pitcher, who also was the first person we spoke to at the Red Special Meetup in Thiel in Reading in 2021. So if you fancy sticking around to watch those, check this out, and then we'll see you on the other side.
Not everyone's here yet, but I thought I would just stop everyone from chatting for a minute and say hello to you all and welcome to the Red Special Meetup 2021. I really want to say thank you to everyone for coming, because obviously the last 2 years has been really difficult, and it's so lovely to see so many of you feel safe to come out and join us today. COVID's been really difficult for everyone in lots of different ways, but it's so great that everyone's made an effort to come along to this. Thank you. COVID in mind, we do have track and trace QR code. Face mask is only on once to wear one. Obviously, no one has one on, that's absolutely fine. There is some hand sanitizer dotted around as well if you want to use it. Bearing that in mind, I'd just like to ask everyone to make sure you ask permission from whoever's gear you're picking up that they're okay with it because of COVID. Some people might be, some people might not be. But if we can just make sure we check. I think everyone probably will be fine, but just make sure you ask. That would be fantastic. Stop smiling, Jordan. This is a serious bit. I also want to say hello to all the old faces that we can see around the room, but also welcome to all the new ones. It's great to see so many extra people here. I think the success of the last meetup 2 years ago has probably dragged some people out. And it's great to have you here, Craig Farley. You said you're never going to come. People like Merlin as well, coming from abroad. Peter, Paul, who's not here yet, and you guys. It's fantastic to have you all here. A few brief notes on the day. Joke from last night, there was no fire alarm planned today.
Welcome to the Red Special Meetup. We are now outside at the Hilton Hotel because we've literally burnt the place down.
Starting to get the idea that this wasn't
a So if it goes off, it is a proper fire alarm drill, or we need to go out. There's obviously no smoking in the building. The place to smoke is out the front in the car park. Toilets are just over there by Steve. The kitchen, there is a kitchen just through there, and there's some tea and coffee and milk and sugar if you want to make yourself a hot drink. The bar opens a bit later on this morning. We have an evening meal booked tonight at a location. Over there by the kitchen, some details on what you need to do if you want to go to that. There's a piece of paper, write your name down, what you'd like to order. We have to send it to them by 1 o'clock today, so that it's ready. There's some menus, there's some QR codes to download the menu if you don't want to pick up a menu. So please have a look at that. If you haven't put your name down past 1 o'clock, you're probably not going to come. We also have a raffle today. It's £10 a ticket. All of the proceeds are going to the Save Me Trust. Nigel Knight's going to come a bit later on with about 650 quid worth of kit to put into the raffle. We've got Matt Netherwood has put a set of pickups in there. Lee Spates put a BC149 booster in it. Andrew Morgan from A-Strings is coming. He's got an A-Strings swag box. I've got some really shit podcast merch I'm going to give away. So yeah, £10 a ticket. It's really cheap considering how many of us there are here. And
I'll chuck in an upgrade kit for the BMG with a scratch plate.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Paul. So yeah, if you want to head over to Matt Netherwood at some point, he's got you'll take cash or contactless, and then we'll put your name on the wheel of names, which we'll do the drawing later. We've also got some guests supposedly coming. We never know whether they're actually going to turn up or not. So if they do come, we're very lucky. We don't tend to plan too much around them coming or not, because if we tell everyone who's coming, people might come because of them rather than us lot, and if they don't come, then everyone will be let down. So when they come, They've given up their own free time to be here. They've not been paid to come. We've invited lots of them to come, and they choose to be here. Some of them have been gracious to give up their time to do a Q&A or a bit of demo, which they've all asked this year if we could not video it, because we're going to try and try our best to do an official video, where we've got a couple of cameras set up, and then...
Sorry,
Your legs.
We're just going around the room saying who we are and where we come from. You're up. No, so if you can refrain from filming stuff because they want to make sure that what they said is appropriately accurate of what they said when it goes out, but take photos and please tag everything with RS Meetup 2021. We want to try and gather as much information from today as we can. I will be running around trying to see as many of you as I can, have decent conversations with everyone, but we'll all miss what's going on over there if we're there and vice versa. So if you can tag RS Meetup 2021 and anything, that'd be fantastic. I also want to say happy birthday to Luke Timmins. Today he's now legally old enough to drink.
With a meal.
With a meal, yeah, and his parents. We'll probably sing happy birthday to you later, Luke. That's right. Yeah, and then there's been a few people help me with today, and they'll continue to help me today. There's 5 of us, including myself, dotted around that know what's going on roughly. One of them is Matt Netherwood, Jonathan Planner, Dan Thomas, Birthday Boy, and Steve. So if you want to know or you've got any questions, go to one of us and we might be able to help you. And as soon as we're set up, we'll start the first demo. I'll give you a 10-minute warning before we're going to do anything, so you've got a chance to go to the loo, get a drink, take a seat, and then we'll go through everything. And if anyone's got any other ideas, if we can fit them in, that's great. And if not, just have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
We just have a bit of a round of applause for John. He's putting a huge amount of effort into this stuff.
Thanks, Martin. Thank you, everyone. 10 minutes time, no pressure, Martin. We're going to try and do a bit of a demo.
I'm not ready.
You never will be. 15 minutes. If you want to go and grab a cup of tea, chat to someone, go to the loo, make a phone call, all that stuff, please do. Yeah, fill your meals in to Steve. Buy a raffle ticket from Matt, crack on, and then in 15 minutes we'll be back and we'll start with the first demo. Thank you. Ultimately, one of the things that got me into Brian Lay and Queen was the fantastic tone that Brian got in the Starlicks video. And I remember from back in the day on the Brian May World Forum, a certain website by Mr. Max11, Martin Pitcher, where he seemed to have created some harm. Where he made some fantastic demos and got very close to the Starlight sound. So when I was putting this together, I talked to Martin about maybe giving us a bit of a demo of how to get that sound. So, Martin Pitcher, everyone! Welcome to Starlicks.
I'm no Brian, mate.
Yeah. Martin, thank you for agreeing to do this. It probably won't take very long, but that's okay. Do you want to talk to everyone about guitar, amp, routing, and all that stuff?
Yeah. You might be wondering why I'm playing this and not one of these. It's because I barely play one of those now. Because Andy did such a good job with this that this is the only thing I play at home. And I can take it everywhere, which is the idea. But initially, I just did it for because I had to travel. I wanted a guitar that played like my RS, and it's just so nice to play. It's just I absolutely love it. So yeah, Andy's sick of me telling him I can't put it down. Right. So the thing that's we've got 2 amps here that are very similar. The amps is actually the same. But we've got slightly different speakers. John's got some they're vintage speakers, aren't they? He's got some vintage rollers in there. They're G12Ms. Mine's got Bulldogs in it. There's some interesting stuff about those, I'll tell you later. But that's all original, and yours is almost all original, isn't it? And we thought these would be a nice match because we don't know what Brian's amps were when he did Starlicks, but these are going to be pretty similar. I've got original C1 there, so had nothing done to it. But what I've done is I've set it up for how Brian would have used it. I think he used it from about 79 to about 82, late 82, in this configuration, before the inner pedals got taken out and put into the Pete Cornish board. And that's essentially this is how it would have been used. But I always thought, because of what Pete Cornish had told me, that Brian always used it in the stereo setting. And what you just heard there is not actually going out the stereo out, it's going out the mono out. So it's this mono signal with the stereo signal going to this amp, and that amp is dry. And this is what the surprise that Brian Zellis said. I think Mark got the info from him about how he used to use it. And it kind of rang a bell with me, because when I was trying to to replicate the sound of Starlicks, I always found that if you have it on the stereo setting, and you mic that amp and that amp, you get the C1 sound. I still think it's one of the best choruses you can get. But there's always heavily weighted to the dry speaker, and you can mix that out on your for processing. But it always seemed a bit odd to me. And when you listen to Brian's, you have to have the stereo version, not the one I don't know why he's posted it in mono on his site. But anyway, you need the stereo version, so either the old VHS or the DVD you can get. And you can hear there's the phasing, but the guitar is still dead centre. And that's what you get if you set it up like Brian Zeller said. He said Brian always used it like that. And obviously that was up to Pete Cornish when he stopped doing that. And the interesting thing is, if you set the amps up, I don't think you'll hear it there. The way to set this up, which is how you set any chorus up, is that you have no chorus on the amps. And it's good if they're separated a bit like this, because we want to play a note and it should sound like it's coming from the middle between the two amps. And then when you click the chorus in, it should be the nice soundscape, bigger sound. And if you do that with the normal stereo setting, that amp will always sound a bit more weighted, it's a bit more focused. If you do it the way Brian Sellers said, you've got a chorus signal there and dry signal. And what it seems to do is give you a third phantom amp in the middle, which struck me, isn't that what Brian has now in his rig? Maybe that's why he likes the 3 amps, because I was used to think having 3 amps in his current rig was a bit odd, because he's got 2 chorus amps and 1 dry amp. But actually, maybe he's just harking back to something like this. I don't know, just conjecture. But anyway, that's the setup. I don't know if we'll hear much difference, because you hear it if it's mic'd up, but I don't think you'll hear it here. But if I play some stuff. Is the chorus very can you hear that a lot? In the Pete Cornish room.
hear the difference? Which do we all prefer, number 1 or number 2?
Start them again. That's the same.
Can you go for number 1 again, Richard? We're on number 1 and number 1. Any questions?
I think it's more of a, when you're recording, which is all I really do, now I don't play bands anymore, and then you really notice it. And I've tried to find my, I think I've deleted them, because I did some demos with this setup recorded, and that really is convincing when you hear it. I'll see if I can do that again when you come around.
Well, I don't know if it translates as well there, but sat here you can really hear the difference between the sound of Martin having it with the chorus and the mono mix onto the other amp. It really sounds a lot more of that gelling effect that Brian talks about in Starlicks, whereas there's a lot more separation sat here, and even up close you can hear.
I mean, you can play it either way, whatever you like. You know, I feel it sometimes. Sometimes I have it like that. Sometimes I have it as you know, a separate stereo and a drive. What I'd say about this, and Sean will help me. That's what Sean. Oh, there he is. Sean's, rather than spending ridiculous money buying one of those, if you like the sound of the C1, Sean showed me his C2. What's it called?
C2W.
C2W, yeah. And that's got a chorus setting on it for the C1, and it's also got CE2, so you can have that as well. I thought that C1 setting is the closest thing I've ever heard to that. I thought it was really good. You know, if I ever flogged that, I'd probably get one of those, because it would do just as good a job. And it's got stereo out, so you can set it up exactly the same way. It's really good. And the thing about this, something I discovered on this, I don't know if it's that relevant, but we're all a bit nerdy, so. That, as far as I can see, is all original. I only recently bought it. I've been looking for about 15 years for one in that condition. And it's a CBS Arbiter, and it's from 1975. And it's August 75, the speakers are August 75. And the only thing changed in it is the vibrato channels had some new caps put in. And that's about it. When I checked it, it works. Now it's got no valves, because I've taken the valves out. So I devalved it, so it's only got the 3 valves to run the normal channel. But the thing I noticed about the speakers, I looked and saw that they had a large dust cap. Most of the speakers, if you've seen them, have a small dust cap about, it's 1 3/4 inches or something. And this one's got one that's like 2.5 inches or something. I thought that's a bit odd. Have I been duped on the speakers, or has it had a recode? But I checked out, and it turns out that between 75 when the amp's made and about 80, Vox put in Kurt Muller speakers, and they were always bass cones. They weren't the lead cones. So the lead cone is a 75 hertz resonance, and the bass cones are 55. Essentially, they're for bass amps, because they can take a bit more power handling, and they've got a deeper bass resonance. And I noticed all along that had such a great tone, and I think that bass resonance is part of that. It's coming out of those speakers, so it's a bit of an eye opener. And then I tried my other amps with those speakers.
Fire alarm.
Here we go.
If you put the caps through those speakers, it sounds completely different. It's quite an eye opener how different they are. And it got me thinking, well, you know, why is Brian using the G12 anniversary in his cat amps, which I have in my cat amp as well. It sounds great. I mean, I love that amp as well. But if you mic it up, it can be a little bit on the harsh side and a bit gritty sounding. And it's definitely not the amp, it's not Nigel's amp work. If you mic blue on the same cab, you'll get a nice tone. You've noticed the same thing, haven't you, John? And I was thinking, well, is that really the best speaker for that? So I'm going to buy, you can get a Heritage G12H. So it's the exact same magnet, same speaker, it just has the bass resonance cone, and see how that sounds in the cat amp. I haven't been able to do it yet, but I just think that would be interesting. It might slightly soften that harshness you can get a little bit on the top end, and just make a slightly pleasing sound. I also wonder, when Justin turns up, I'm going to ask him what's the reason why they use a ribbon mic and a Sennheiser 421 on his live amps. They got ribbon mic on the blue speaker, and the Sennheiser on the anniversary speaker. And I wonder if they're blending the two to make that sound. Whereas I'm thinking, well, if they are doing that, you probably get the right sound with that one using a Heritage speaker with a bass cone in it. It may actually soften that, and it's a bit more rounded sound. And the other day I noticed Marco had a video from something like 2013, where he got hold of a second-hand Heritage speaker and put it in one of his CC2X amps or whatever it is. Is that right? I'm familiar with these modern amps. And he said this, he described the same way. They made just had a nicer tone. It's a nice tone. So it's maybe something worth researching if you're as nerdy as I am.
Wasn't Brian May's favourite AC30 a bass?
Oh, well, that's the amp. I think that's different. That's the amp. I mean, there's a lot of argument that you won't get much from the frequencies of guitar.
Yeah.
You can still play with one of those bass AC30s, and it's not really going to sound a lot different. But there may be something going on in the frequencies that makes it just sound a bit warmer. I don't know. Have I tried the bass amp? I can't remember. I might have done. Tried a lot of AC30s.
Can I just ask, what are you on any level of attenuation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What are you on?
I don't know. Just medium noisy.
Medium rare.
Medium rare. Probably about halfway up, is it?
That's not full volume then.
1 o'clock?
Oh, it's 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
With
Time for lunch.
With the PV100s. Marshall
Yeah.
Power Break.
Yeah. We're a bit like Nigel turn up later and bring some goodies, and I've asked him if he would bring his attenuator. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it's called.
I don't know. Hopefully you will come with it, and then we can see it and talk about it.
And I was honoured that he asked me to help in the design. Peter kindly put him on to me, and so I've had a big, well, not help in designing, but help in the user aspect of what was needed. So a bit like we can listen to that. And I don't think you'll hear that much difference in the room here because of the acoustics and everything. But I mic'd it up. We went to a studio to test out his first little prototype. And so we're in a proper recording studio, and we just played that amp full up. And I recorded it, and then also recorded similar kind of riffs, but with the PV100. And although the PV100s are perfectly good enough for this sort of thing, for recording and just an overall tone, getting the real tone of your amp, I think Nigel's one's going to be a real winner. So I'm definitely on the list for some. And it just had a clearer tone, and the difference between them, it even changes the hiss. Nigel sent me a recording of the hiss from a PV1, when it's that big, from the PV100 against his prototype. And the PV100 actually changes the tone of the hiss slightly, which is a bit weird. Whereas his one didn't. And the Marshall is designed for a Marshall amp. And Nigel's designed it not only for an AC30, but for an AC30, how we play it, it's full up, Mullering the thing. And I'm really impressed with it, so I can't wait for them to come out. It's a shame they're not here today. We'd all get our wallets out.
Any other questions for Martin on what he's doing? Or
So that's on 1, setting 1. So is that what's the go-to? What's 4 volume sound like?
it's quite loud.
When Nigel turns up, we can do that because one of the things I asked for, with BB100, you have to turn the amp off, unplug it, plug it back in, and it really, you don't want to keep turning these things on and off all the time. It doesn't do them any good. So here's one. I said, can you put on a bypass switch? So he's added a bypass switch, so you can just you can play your amp full up. You know, if the drummer's getting on your nerves, you just crank it right up. And he said, Nigel's already accused me of deafening him before.
So what's it on? So on 1, is that like 10% of full power?
So it's 1 o'clock. So if you imagine. It's 1 o'clock on the PB100.
It's about 9 decibels down, isn't it?
Yeah.
10, 9.
I've written, if you look on the back of mine, I've written on the decibels on the back of my BB. 12.
So that's 12
decibels.
down, is that? Yeah. And then on Nigel's one, you'll find that's the same. And rather than being a hunky great thing like the Marshall that gets really hot and needs a fan, his thing doesn't get hot, doesn't need a fan. So for recording, that's important because often I mic the back of the amp, if I'm using the attenuator, so I prefer to mic them up without anything, just play them properly. But you can sometimes pick up a fan. You're never going to hear it in a mix, but it's just a little bit annoying. You're getting sound coming in that you don't want. You know. And his one goes down in the same 3 dBs, so it'll go down to low. And I think when I demoed his prototype, I think I used it on a minus 18, I think was the lowest. So, but it will go lower than that. It's just that in a recording studio, you turn it low and you can't even hear the thing. You know. And these aren't as loud as something like the Cat over there. That'd be a louder amp, particularly if that one hasn't. But if they've got the anniversary speaker in, that really boosts and focuses the sound up. But other people don't know.
So we've got a few things going on the floor there. Obviously, you've mentioned the C one, but there's a few other devices I can see. So
yeah, so forget the tuner. I never use a tuner. Can't you tell? That's what my diesel.
Is that an original 70s tuner?
No, that's the original.
Yeah.
So the little box here, that one there, that's a DI box that Pete Cornish made for Brian. Not that one, he didn't make that one for Brian, but that's what he used to make for Brian. So before Brian had his big Pete Cornish rig, he had one of these for each amp, probably other than the main dry amp. Around that time, he only had one amp as his main amp, until he moved on to using the chorus. And then the other wing amps would have just been for the delay stuff. And the other box there is Pete Cornish splitter. Which is just a standard split. It's got no switches on it. You just plug it in and go. You just have to make sure you've got number 1 in, because that gives you the earth, make sure it's earth. But I use it on wireless anyway, so it's unlikely I'm going to get electric. You have to get struck by lightning. Yeah, so that's all that's it, and that's it. I always think the simpler you keep a rig, the better. You know, most of the time when I'm at home, I just play through that, either full up. If the neighbours are out, or I have it cranked up in the room, still very loud, excuse me. And just because I think the speakers sound better when they got a bit more oomph going through them. That's the thing with the attenuator, when you turn it down, you can't really expect it to sound the same, although you can get away with it recording. I mean, I've recorded the power breaks. I don't like to use a power break on less than 4 switches up from nothing. You can just about get away with that. Anything over that you can do is probably a bonus. You just get a bit more character out there. But I think with Nigel's one, you're going to get a character from the get-go. It's just quite impressive. So hopefully we'll get to hear that later at some point.
Anyone else? my picture. Thank you very much. You're free to go.
Thanks again, Martin. That was absolutely amazing to be there on stage with you and hear those differences. And you really can tell the difference between the mono and stereo out on the chorus, the Boss CE1 chorus that Martin was using. And I would highly recommend the Boss CE2W Wazacraft chorus if that's something that you want to get hold of. And also keep watching the videos to link some BMG Cat mini rig and Groundbreaker that Luke Timmins will demo in the next video, and that's another element of Git that you can get now that will enable you to make that sound without hum, well, without AC30 hum, because we all know they make a really loud hum. Yeah, and thanks so much for watching. It's great to see you all engaging with these videos, and it means a lot that people want to watch them and are asking me when they're coming out and seeing people's comments. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell icon so that you know when we have posted something up new. And also please leave a thumbs up and a comment below so we know which was your favourite part of the video. And if you've got any suggestions on what we could do better or what you'd like to see in upcoming videos, whether that's a review of a guitar, an amplifier, having a look around the studio, having a look at what the rig is that we're going to be using, and yeah, we can do all of those things together, and I want to take you on that journey with me. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening as well. More podcast episodes coming out very soon. Just trying to get the balance right of videos to podcast episodes, but keep your ears and eyes open for those, and keep safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.